Thank you, Charlie.
Yep.
And the meeting's recording. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the April 15th meeting of the Old Colony MPO. This meeting is called to order. Do I need to read the accessibility statement?
Please.
Okay. This meeting is accessible to people with disabilities. Microphones or telephones will be used by all speakers. If you would like this accommodation, please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833. Thank you. The Notice of Non-Discrimination Rights and Protections to Beneficiaries with regard to the Federal Title VI non-discrimination protections and the state non-discrimination protections is included on this meeting's agenda and is available on the Old Colony Planning Council website at https://oldcolonyplanning.org/ Please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833 for more information. Thank you. I believe the next item on today's agenda. Oh, sorry. Do we need to do a roll call?
Yes.
Okay. Please read the roll, Charlie.
Derek Schuster.
Derek Schuster, representing MassDOT's Secretary and CEO, Monica Tibbetts-Nutt, here.
Sean Handy.
Sean Handy, District 5, Mass DOT Assistant Project Development Engineer, representing Mass DOT Administrator Gulliver.
Pat Hill.
Patrick Hill, Commissioner of Public Works, City of Brockton.
Thank you. Lee Hartman.
Lee Hartman, representing the town of Plymouth.
Thank you. Dan Salvucci.
Present.
Mike Lambert.
The signatory. Here.
Mike Lambert. Thank you. And Becky Coletta.
Present, representing Old Colony Planning Council as president.
Great, thank you. And for ex officio members, we have Rhonda Motley from Federal Highway Administration and Eric Gemperline from Federal Highway Administration. And then from the Old Colony Joint Transportation Committee, we have Vice Chair Dan Salvucci.
Yep, I'm taking 2 seats today.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you. Next item on today's agenda is public comments. Are there any members of the public wishing to make comment at this time? If so, please use the react button to raise your hand. Seeing and hearing none, if there are any members of the public that wish to make comment during today's MPO agenda, please just use the raise hand feature and the chair will call on you. Next item on today's agenda is potential approval of the March 18th, 2025 meeting minutes. May I please have a motion and second to approve the MPO meeting minutes from March 18th?
Dan Salvucci approves. Motions.
Lee Hartman, I'll second.
Thank you. Do we have any comments or revisions to the minutes at this time? Seeing and hearing none, Charlie, please call the roll.
Derek Schuster.
Yes.
Sean Handy.
Yes.
Pat Hill.
Yes.
Lee Hartman.
Yes.
Dan Salvucci.
Yes.
Mike Lambert.
Yes.
Thank you. Becky Coletta.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item on today's agenda is a status report from the Brockton Area Transit Authority. Mike?
Thank you very much. Ridership continues to bounce back with the warmer weather. We fell just 50 trips short of 13,000 yesterday. We have soft launched our after hours employment service in partnership with Uber. So stay tuned for more news on that as we test it out. We're working with a school and with Home Depot to enroll some people and see how that works. And that is my update for today.
Thank you very much, Michael. Next, I believe we have a GATRA report. Do we have Mary Ellen?
Yep. Good morning, everyone. GATRA is also seeing increases in our ridership. We're not quite where we want to be yet, but we are seeing consistent growth, especially among our dial-a-ride. The new software that we're using has really allowed us to efficiently book rides, so we knew the demand was there, and now we're able to meet that demand. Just on that alone, we're up 30%, and that's not adding any vehicles, so that's just efficiency that we're seeing. And other than that, we are just getting ready for the new fiscal year and looking to expand service as we can bring drivers on board. That's the report from GATRA.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. Before we continue, I just wanted to also add that the MassDOT Rail and Transit Division has announced vehicle awards for the Community Transit Grant Program that both BAT and GATRA are recipients of. There will be a tip adjustment likely on the May agenda to reflect these vehicle awards. So please stay tuned for that. And congratulations on the vehicle awards. If there's no questions or comments for BAT and GATRA, we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is the Federal Fiscal Year 25 to 29 Old Colony Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP, adjustments and or amendments. Is this Bill?
Yes, sir. Thank you. So first I'll go with amendment number 3. So if you recall, our last meeting, amendment 3 was released to a public review and comment period that closed this past Friday. That amendment programmed in a Safe Streets for All grant that Bridgewater State University received. You can see the comment matrix there. Our board of directors at their March meeting approved it as presented by Old Colony Planning Council, and then and similarly the Joint Transportation Committee approved it as presented by staff. There were no other comments, and I would ask for this board to consider endorsing this amendment.
Do you need a motion?
I'll move
Yes.
to endorse the amendment.
I'll second. Dan from Whitman.
Thank you. A motion has been made in second. Are there any questions or comments on Amendment 3 as presented?
No, went over it. Yeah.
Okay. Charlie, please call the roll.
Derek Schuster,
Yes.
Sean Handy,
Yes.
Pat Hill,
Yes.
Lee Hartman,
Yes.
Dan Salvucci,
Yes.
Michael Lambert,
Yes.
and Becky Coletta.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. I believe the next item is Amendment 4. Bill?
Yes, sir. Thank you. So amendment number 4 that we're proposing today is to move a project out of 2025 into 2026. So you may recall from previous meetings, discussions, the intersection improvements project for Center Street at Plymouth Street and here in Brockton that ran into design delays and was not going to be ready for advertisement this year as programmed in 2025. So at this time, we're proposing to amend this tip to move this project out of 2025 and into federal fiscal year 2026 in the new 2026 to 2030 tip that we're hoping to release to a public review and comment period in the next agenda item. But so in doing so, this move frees up these funds to be used elsewhere, either in the region or recaptured by the state and used elsewhere in the statewide program. So I guess the thing I would stress is that this project is not going away. It is going to be programmed in 2026.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Do we have any questions for Bill on the proposed amendment? Okay, seeing and hearing none, could we please have a motion and second to release Amendment 4 for 21-day public comment?
I'll make that motion, Dan from Whitman.
Lee Hartman, I'll second.
Thank you. Motion has been made in second. If there are no questions at this time, Charlie, please call the roll.
Derek Schuster,
Yes.
Sean Handy,
Yes.
Pat Hill,
Yes.
Lee Hartman,
Yes.
Dan Salvucci,
Yes.
Michael Lambert,
Yes.
and Becky Coletto.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. The next item on today's agenda is the draft federal fiscal year 2026 to 2030 Old Colony tip. I believe this is Bill as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So today we're presenting our FFY 2026 to 2030 tip for hopefully release to public review and comment period. This is a overall great program. We have about $300 million in highway and bridge investment, about $50 million in transit investment. You want to go to the next page, John? So this table just kind of shows you how that is broken down over a program on both the highway side and the transit side. So the highway side, like it says, highways, intersections, and bridges, and then the transit side is capital investment in capital improvements and operational assistance for Brockton area transit. So this is great news. It's a lot of money for the region,
Yeah.
and it's also this does not include also discretionary grants that the region receives as well. So overall, great news. So if you want to go to the next page. Next page. Oh, thank you. So we'll spend a lot of time on these. I'll just kind of highlight which projects are in which years for the highway side. So beginning in FFY 2026, next year, that Brockton project that I just spoke of, Route 123 at Plymouth Street, we're moving that from 2025 to 2026. Then the Abington project, Hancock Street, Chestnut Street, that remains in 2026. In 2027, we have Abington project, Route 139 at Chestnut Street. And in Avon, we have Route 28 at East and West Spring Street at Harrison Boulevard. Brockton, we have another project adjacent to the downtown here, the intersection improvements at Summer Street, Grove Street, and Lyman Street, including the replacement of the Grove Street Bridge. And then in Duxbury, we have a bridge replacement of the Powder Point Avenue Bridge. This is advanced construction over several years, so you're going to see this in the next several elements of the tip. In 2028, Abington intersection improvements at Route 18, Route 123. In Brockton, intersection improvements at Route 123 at Pearl Street and Stonehill Street. In Duxbury, again, that Powder Point Bridge project in advanced construction. Kingston Duxbury intersection improvements at the ramps between Route 3 and Route 3A, right there on the Kingston Duxbury line. That is advanced construction over 2 years. In Stoughton, intersection improvements at Route 27 at Canton Street and Summer Street. And then in 2029, we have in Bridgewater, bridge replacement on Vernon Street. In Brockton and Abington, we have pedestrian improvements and corridor improvements on Route 123. In Brockton and Abington, that is advanced construction over 2 years, at least 2 years. Duxbury, bridge replacement, Powder Point Bridge. Kingston Duxbury, year 2 of that advanced construction project. East Bridgewater, intersection improvements at Route 18 and Highland Street. In Hanover, intersection improvements at Main Street, Center Street, and Silver Street, right there in the downtown. Kingston, bridge replacement, Smith's Lane over Route 3. Stoughton, intersection improvements, Route 27 and Turnpike Street. In 2030, get year 2 of that Route 23 project in Brockton and Abington. In Duxbury, intersection improvements at Route 53 and Franklin Street. Again, that Powder Point Bridge project, another year of advanced construction. Hanover, intersection improvements at Route 53 and Broadway. And finally, in Whitman, corridor improvements on Route 27, which is which is South Avenue, and that is going to be there'll be advanced construction over 2 years. So we don't have 2031 in this tip, but that would carry over into 2031 in the next year's tip. So that is the tip as presented. Obviously, the tip is a comprehensive document. It contains the equity analysis of all these projects, greenhouse gas analysis. So, you know, we don't have the entire document presentation at this time or in this meeting, but that will be posted to our website today as part of the public review and comment period. With that, I'll just open up to any questions or discussion.
Thank you very much, Bill. Are there any questions for Bill at this time?
Yeah, Dan from Whitman, I have a question for Bill. Bill, when we move a project forward, in other words, if it's supposed to be done in 25, it's not gonna be done in 26. The estimated costs, will you readjust them also?
Yep. Yeah, it gets adjusted for the year of programming. So it basically typically we use 4%. So it would be 4% higher than whatever the cost is this year.
Yeah, I always ask that question, but it's what, yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, so just to expand on that a little, year one of the draft program doesn't have an inflation factor from what the current total federal participating construction cost is. So we try to align the year of programming with what the latest TFPC is, and then factor in that inflation factor by 4% beginning year two, and then 8% in year three, and so on.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Michael Lambert, did BAT have anything to add about the transit project list for the 26 to 30 program?
We do not, other than, as usual, we appreciate your support.
All right, thank you very much. I believe we're looking for a motion to release the draft 26 to 30 Old Colony MPO tip for 21-day public comment. Could we please have a motion and second?
I'll make that motion, Dan from Whitman.
I'll second it.
Thank you. If there are no further questions at this time, Charlie, please call the roll.
Derek Schuster,
Yes.
Sean Handy,
Yes.
Pat Hill,
Yes.
Lee Hartman,
Yes.
Dan Salvucci,
Yes,
Michael Lambert,
Yes.
and Becky Coletto.
Yes,
Great, thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you and
Thank-
congratulations. The Old Colony MPO is the first in the Commonwealth to release their draft tip.
good,
It's no small feat.
Thanks, everyone.
hard work.
Next item on today's agenda is the draft Old Colony Safe Streets for All SS4A action plan. Charlie or Sean, who's presenting on this?
So we have Jacqueline Centracchio from Beta Group to provide the presentation.
Okay.
Hi, yes, thank you. Is there a way that Austin can share his screen?
Yes, let me make him a co-host.
Thank you.
I just need to have him accept the promotion to panelist first.
Okay.
I should be able to share now.
Yep, let me just stop sharing my screen, and you
Yeah.
are a co-host, so you should be good to go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There you go.
Okay, we're all set now. All right, so thank you for having us give you an update today on this important project. My name is Jacqueline Centracchio from Beta Group. I'm the project manager working with OCPC on this. A co-presenter is Austin Pizzeni, and we also have a few other Beta folks that have worked on this project. If there are any other questions, Jeff Max Tudis and Anna Sangri. Today, we're going to talk about basically where we left off at the last MPO meeting that we presented at back in July. The public engagement process was about to kick off at that point. We're going to discuss some of the key draft plan elements and talk a little bit about the schedule and what the next steps are. We had launched an interactive dashboard for public comment as part of public engagement, and we did receive over 150 comments, which we thought was very successful. We got a lot of great feedback. We spoke with each of the 17 OCPC communities individually, which comprised about 100 representatives from those communities in total. We've presented at MPO and JTC meetings, and we did host a virtual public meeting in December of 2024, which was great. You know, we did some live surveys, so we were able to really extract some good information from those as well from participants. What we heard, the top safety issue was speed. This is a list of a lot of the common concerns that we had received during the process. They really should not be surprising. We've heard this for various projects. There's, the ped bike concerns, poor visibility, distracted driving is another really big one that we had heard from every single community, nighttime visibility, red light running, which is another huge concern. So this is just kind of summarizing those. OCPC, excuse me, developed a goal for achieving Vision Zero. Vision Zero, as we probably all know, is a strategy to eliminate all traffic fatalities and severe injury crashes. OCPC committed to the goal in 2045. So that was developed by mapping past crash trends and analyzing necessary crash reductions. This table shows the Vision Zero evaluation for fatal injury crashes. As you can see, the graph goes down to 2042 to 2046, 5-year period. And at that point, the goal is to have 0 fatal and serious injury crashes. At this point, I'll hand it over to Austin to talk a little more about additional elements of the plan.
Thanks, Jacqueline. Yeah, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about how we developed our top project locations and how you should read the plan, as well as our top corridors and intersections that we found in the region. So here's just a quick overview of the region of the top projects region-wide. One thing to note is there's a lot of concentration in Brockton, which we expected. You can also see in the orange color, these are the top 50 regional projects. And in the blue, it's the top projects for the entire plan. So there's really a mix across the entire region. We've included every single community as part of the project list. And on the next slide, this is what you'll be seeing as part of the plan. So these are our lists of the top project locations region-wide. So the top table shows the corridor examples. So for example, Pleasant Street in Brockton. I think some of the most key things to note in the plan is the fatal and serious injury crashes and the crash types. So those two things were very useful to help us develop countermeasures. You can see in the far right box. So for example, intersection realignment, upgrading ladder style crosswalks, those sorts of things. The table at the bottom is just the same as the corridors, but this is for intersection projects. So for example, Purchase Street and Turnpike Street in Easton. And this has the same sort of attributes, fatal serious crashes, and also the countermeasures that we've developed as part of this plan. Another part you'll see in our plan is the recommended policies and strategies. So our policies and strategies follow the safe systems approach. So safer people, safer vehicles, safer speeds, safer roads, and post-crash care. So this is just one of the 5 categories, safer people, and this just lists some of our policies that we've developed for the region. This can be in terms of like education and actual policy, data collection, and that sort of thing. Nice. Last final thing I want to note is we have a section for progress and transparency. So just one key thing to note is the second box, identify key performance measures. So at the end of the plan, we've listed out some performance measures that OCPC can follow in order to make sure we're achieving the goal of 2045 Vision Zero. So measures of outcome being reducing serious and fatal crashes, so a rolling 5-year average going to 0, and then also measures of implementation, so tracking the number of projects that we've had completed as part of the project overall region-wide, and then also in environmental justice communities. And I'll pass it back to Jacqueline for the final next steps.
Thanks, Austin. So looking at the schedule, we've come a long way since we last presented to you. We've met each of our timeline goals, as shown from April to June in orange, yellowy. We are at the draft to final plan stage. The draft's been prepared and it contains all the components of the process. The action plan will be reviewed and then submitted in June of 2025. The plan will be used for communities to seek the funding for the implementation plan, which we've already talked about. Next steps. Today will mark the beginning of the 21-day public review and comment period. We will be presenting also at the JTC meeting on May 1st. Then we will incorporate all those comments into a final draft plan. And on June 17th, the next MPO meeting, we'll be voting for an endorsement. So we didn't know really how to label these this slide, but we thought that it might be beneficial to give some kind of questions to ask yourselves while you're reviewing our plan. These are just questions to like kind of highlight, but obviously we will incorporate any comments and take any comments you give us into consideration as we move forward. But some of the questions would be, do the project top locations make sense to you? Are there locations that were missed? And then we'll look more into the crash analysis and see, how we should reevaluate if needed. Do you agree with the countermeasures? And are there any countermeasures at particular locations that you would like to see applied to those intersections or corridors? And also, if you agree with the OCPC policies and strategies that are recommended in the plan. So again, those are just a few questions that you could focus on or just take into consideration as you thoughtfully review the plan. And here's a graphic of our lovely cover for the draft safety plan. I put this, we put this link here, but it should be live today. I'm not sure if this is an accurate link. I'll rely on Bill or Charlie to guide us, but it should be this link where we have all our SS4A information. And that's about it for our presentation. So if you have any questions, please let us know.
Thank you, Jacqueline and Austin. Great presentation. Did any members of the board or the public have feedback on the plan now that you wanted to address or questions? Okay, seeing and hearing none, I believe.
I do. Hello, I do.
Go ahead, Richard.
So when I look at slide 7, the orange is apparent, if I read this right, it's apparently where future investments might be concentrated, and they are numbered. So like I see in Avon, there's an item 12. Does that align with a specific project or?
Oh, the number designation, is
Yeah.
that? Oh, you were really zooming in there. Yes, so you will see that in the report. You will see 12, what that intersection is recommended on the slide Austin showed, I believe is after this. Can you go to the slide after this, Austin? Yeah, so on the bottom intersection in the report, we have full tables which outline the top corridors and the top intersections, and associated with 12 will be that intersection, and you'll see all the information that is filled out on the table for the columns.
And that'll be available for the 21-day review, or is that
Oh
later?
yeah, this is all part of the report. So really this presentation is just kind of highlighting where we're at, where we're going, and the elements within the draft plan. So you'll see that. So that'll be posted today and you'll be able to dig into that information today.
And then I see the black dots, which show I guess, the major intersection in various towns. Those do not have projects associated with them, or they do?
The black dots. So those are black dots. Those are, and correct me, no, so those are for towns. And again, please correct me. People, oh,
Okay.
yep, someone wants
Do you
to
want me
speak.
to, I can jump in. So the blue or black dots are projects that were identified for each municipality. So those are located in the appendix of the report and are part of the plan, but we didn't identify countermeasures for each one of those. We only did countermeasures for the top 50 locations region-wide. I think that answers the question. Is that right, Jacqueline?
Yes,
So
sorry.
in other words, a given town might have some orange, which would have orange and black dots, and both of those might indicate future investments, but the black ones do not have proposed countermeasures. Am I hearing that right?
Yeah,
Correct.
that's right. But we did identify the top crash types, I believe. So those can be kind of correlated with countermeasure types as well. So if if there are a lot of angle crashes there, then you can kind of tailor countermeasures towards that type of crash.
Charlie.
So thanks, Derek. I just wanted to follow up. Despite a location being listed in the report and not having specific countermeasures identified, it's our understanding that the community could still apply for the SS4A implementation grant for that location by the very fact that the location is identified in the Vision Zero plan.
Correct.
Yeah, that's my understanding of the SS4A program as well. So I guess to add to that, if there are any locations that you think are not reflected either in the regional or municipal crash clusters that you think should be reflected in this plan, it sounds like that's the type of feedback that Beta is looking for, or any other feedback on the report. Is that correct,
Yes.
Jacqueline?
Thank you,
Okay.
Derek. Yep.
All right. So I believe the requested action is to have a motion and second to release this for public review and comment. We have a
Lee-
motion, please.
Lee Hartman, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. If there are no further questions or comments from the board at this time, Charlie, please call the roll.
Derek Schuster,
Yes.
Sean Handy, Pat Hill,
Yes.
Lee Hartman,
Yes.
Dan Salvucci,
Yes.
Michael Lambert,
Yes.
and Becky Coletto.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. And just note that we uploaded the draft plan to the chat, so you can download it directly from the meeting chat if you'd like. And
Yes,
we'll have it
thank
on
you,
our
Charlie.
website today.
Okay, thank you, Charlie, and thank you, Beta Group, for your presentation.
Thank you.
Next item on today's agenda is Old Colony MPO self-certification and compliance statements. I see some applause going on the screen. Mazel tov. Who do we have presenting on the self-certification?
That would be me, Chair.
Go ahead, Charlie.
So one of the items that we consult with the MPO on an annual basis is affirming the two self-certification statements. The first being the Metropolitan Planning Regulations compliance statements, and the second being the state regulations with regard to the Global Warming Solutions Act. And these are important that the MPO review these on an annual basis to make sure that we incorporate any updates. And then also these will be loaded into the appropriate 3C certification documents going forward, such as the Transportation Improvement Program. So the first one we have on the screen for the MPO's consideration is with regard to the Global Warming Solutions Act. And this is specifically applies to state agencies in coordination with MassDOT and DEP. For example, this doesn't, it's not a federal regulation that's by all MPOs across the nation. This is Massachusetts specific. So you can see that here's item number 1. Evaluate and report on the aggregate transportation greenhouse gas emissions of the regional transportation plans and the transportation improvement programs. As an example, so Bill of our team, where does the tip, he does the air quality analysis, and all the emissions results are quantified or qualified and reported in the tip and then reported to the state. And then you can see the rest of the listing here. So develop socioeconomic forecasts in consultation with regional partners in the state. So this is the same type of information. So, from the staff level, we are comfortable that we're complying with this, and our colleagues at MassDOT actually make sure that we do. So they help guide us and push and pull where needed. So, and provide a framework for compliance. So there might be some more on the next page. And 2 more. Again, documenting the greenhouse gas emission standards, and then an overall final assessment, and point out that MassDOT compiles all of the regional transportation improvement programs into what they call the state transportation improvement program. And within that document, the quantified aggregate of the emissions across the state are documented. So.
Thank you, Charlie. Are there any questions for Charlie on the state regulations for the Global Warming Solutions Act as presented for the MPOs to consider endorsing today? Okay, seeing and hearing none, before we review and potentially endorse the Metropolitan Transportation Planning process, I think given that one is a state regulation and the other is a federal, it might be appropriate to have votes for them separately, unless board members feel differently. So could we please have a motion and second to endorse the state regulation 310 CMR 60.05 for federal fiscal year 2025 or 2026, excuse me.
So moved. Becky Coletta.
Thank you, Becky. Do we have a second?
Lee Hartman, second.
Thank you. If there's no questions, Charlie, please call the roll.
Derek Schuster,
Yes.
Sean Handy,
Yes.
Pat Hill,
Yes.
Lee Hartman,
Yes.
Dan Salvucci,
Yes.
Michael Lambert,
Yes.
and Becky Coletta.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. And then I believe the next part was Metropolitan Transportation Planning process. Go ahead, Charlie.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So could we toggle back up to, yes, that one? Thank you. So on an annual basis, just like with the Global Warming Solutions Act, we have several items for the MPO's consideration, and these are related specifically to the Title 49, which is FTA, U.S. Code 5303, and then 23 U.S. Code 134. That's on the federal highway side. So basically what that says is to make sure you know what's in the metropolitan planning regs as you develop your metropolitan planning process and develop your 3C documents, such as the Transportation Improvement Program, Unified Planning Work Program, Long Range Plan, Public Participation Plan, etc. And then going through the list, you can see where number 2 is the abide by the Clean Air Act Amendment. Number 3 is the Title VI, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and then so on and so forth through this list, prohibiting discrimination in employment or business opportunities. And then as we go through onto the next page, it wraps up with anti-lobbying restriction on the staff level. So these are standard ones that we've had from last year. We did run these by MassDOT for prior review to make sure that there weren't any updates, and there were no updates from the ones we had last year. So same, if there are any questions, we can certainly entertain that. Otherwise, we turn it back to the chair for a potential motion.
Thank you, Charlie. Are there any questions for Charlie at this time? I guess I just have one question, not for Charlie, but I wanted to invite our federal highway colleagues on the call, Rhonda or Eric, in case there are any changes. I don't believe there are any from what Charlie's presented for self-certification here.
Can you hear me?
I can, Rhonda.
Hey, this is Rhonda. So far, there's no changes, but Eric is on the call as well too, so maybe he can give you some feedback. We're still waiting. You know, right now we're just at a stage where headquarters is doing things and they're trying to figure things out, and we're trying to figure things out as well. So we can't execute or do anything until we get the thumbs up from our headquarters. So we would like to apologize for any kind of setbacks this is causing your team or whatever, but right now we're just in limbo. Sorry about that. So once we get something, you guys know that we will reach out to you as soon as possible and give you guys any updates in conjunction with anything that's going on with it. So thank you. And
Thank you, Rhonda.
Eric is on the call too. He might have some feedback as well. Thank you.
Yep, I think you nailed it, Rhonda. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or Rhonda at the division office, and we'll try to get you the best answer possible. But like Rhonda said, we're kind of in a waiting game, and we apologize for any inconvenience on our end.
No worries, Eric and Rhonda. Thank you very much. So yeah, based on that, it sounds like the laws of the land as presented by Charlie are consistent with what we knew to be true a year ago. So therefore, I think it's appropriate to have a motion and second for potential endorsement from the Old Colony MPO board for this item. Could we have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion, Dan from Whitman.
Lee Hartman, second.
Thank you. Charlie, please call the roll.
Sure. Derek Schuster,
Yes.
Sean Handy,
Yes.
Pat Hill,
Yes.
Lee Hartman,
Yes.
Dan Salvucci,
Yes.
Michael Lambert,
Yes.
and Becky Coletta.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you very much, Charlie. The next item on today's agenda is administrative matters, other business, and date and time of next meeting. I just wanted to note that in the chat, in addition to the Old Colony Planning Council Safety Action Plan, Charlie Kilmer also shared an event notification for the South Coast Bikeway Alliance Summit on May 13th. Did MPO staff or board members have any other business to share at this time?
So
Okay. Go ahead, Charlie.
So we have a couple items in the staff report for the attendees information. So as luck would have it, it's good timing as you heard our presentation on this Vision Zero Safe Streets for All Regional Action Plan. It's being released for a public review and comment period. Federal Highway has released a NOFO for the Safe Streets for All implementation grants and planning and demonstration grants. And as we page through there are two types, as we said, planning and demonstration, and then the second type being implementation. And the deadline for applications is June 26th. And there are several links here in your staff report you can view for more information. I point out that Federal Highway is having a webinar this afternoon, and there's also one a week from today with regard to this NOFO. So stay tuned and please attend those webinars if so interested for more information. On the next slide, the Division of Ecological Restoration has a grant program, and they currently have a funding opportunity out on the street right now for two types of grants. One is replacing culverts themselves, and the other is a training grant. So great opportunity here. And I believe on the next page is a great partnership by between the communities, MassDOT, the regional planning agencies, and this is the Governor Healy's effort to make Massachusetts competitive in applying for discretionary grants. So they have a monthly meeting, and the next one is April 22nd at 2 p.m. And you can register at the link in your staff report. And on the next page, we have some upcoming dates of the MPO meeting itself. So May 20th at 10, June 17th at 10, and most likely July 15th at 10. So please save those dates, and we certainly appreciate your attendance today and upcoming attendance at future meetings.
Thank you, Charlie. And if I'm not mistaken, May 20th, you're going to be presenting your Unified Planning Work Program for 2026 for release?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So between that and endorsement of the 26 to 30 tip for the region being on the agenda, please make sure that we have quorum and that you're able to virtually attend the upcoming meetings. Are there any other announcements, other business or comments before we move to the final item?
Mr. Chair, but I just want to acknowledge the OCPC transportation staff and their work, not only on the SS4A and the TIP, but their day-to-day, whether it's traffic counting or whether it is bike paths. I'm very proud of this team and just want to take another time just to acknowledge that. So thank you very much.
I echo that as well, Mary. You've got a team of rock stars, and the Commonwealth is very appreciative of the efforts of the Old Colony Transportation Planning staff for all of the work you do in administering the 3C transportation planning process. Excellent work. All right. I believe the last item on today's agenda is adjournment. Can we please have a motion and second to adjourn the meeting?
So moved, Dan from Whitman.
Lee Hartman, second.
All right, Lee.
All right. Thank you. Without objection, we are adjourned. Thank you all and have an excellent rest of your day.
Have a great month.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.